How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to part 5 of how to build a shed slash playhouse. Today we're going to be concentrating specifically on the roofing paper as well as the bird boards on the side of the shed. Stay tuned with us. It's going to be a process. Nobody likes this portion of the job. However, this is a very big and very important portion of this project. So we're going to show you guys how we did this, the way that we like to. There's a lot of different ways to do this, and if you watch videos, everybody has their own way, but this is going to be ours. Hopefully you get some sort of insight on how to do this on our style. So the first thing that you want to do on this size of roof that we're working here is you obviously don't want to bring a full roll of rolling paper, of roofing paper out onto your roof, just based on the fact that it's too bulky, too heavy, too much material to be bringing up on the top. So just get a quick measurement of an idea of how much material you're actually going to need for this roof. And you want to go about maybe a foot, half a foot over on each side. So about a foot. So let's say that this is a span of 10 feet on the roof. You want to make sure that you're cutting out close to around 11 feet worth of material. Just get an idea of how much you're going to have to cut, how many sheets, and then go ahead and bring those up to the roof. And the only reason we're making these measurements is just based on the size of this roof. If it was a full house, obviously we'd be bringing the whole roll up. And all you're going to do is roll this down on the ground level, roll it out to about 11 feet. The edges do not have to be perfectly cut. Again, this is going to go up to the top of the roof, and you're going to be able to make your cuts as needed up on top to make sure that everything is somewhat flushed or straight when you're actually cutting off the roof. So just get a general idea. As long as you're going over 10 feet, work with what you have. But as long as you're going over 10 feet on the roof, you'll be perfectly fine. These do not need to be cut perfect while on the ground level. And all I'm doing here is cutting out 5 sheets, and the only reason is we're going to have 2 on each side and 1 big piece hanging over the ridge board area, the point of the actual roof. And this is how easy it is to cut this material. All you need is a razor blade, line it up, and then pull your arm back to make the cut. That's it. Just make sure that you guys have a good sufficient amount of razors for this entire project. So once you have the bottom one measured out to roughly around 11 feet, all you have to do is roll the roofing paper from the bottom portion up to the top and make your cuts again. They're not all going to be the same exact cut, but that's okay. As long as they're beyond 10 feet, that's what you need. So again, this is me speeding up the video so you can see this at a process a little bit faster. But it's the same thing. Rolling from the bottom, rolling your way up, making the cut, start again until you get the amount of sheets that you're actually going to need. Doing it this way is going to save you a lot of, back aching and just overworking yourself with this portion. Once you have them cut out, just go ahead and roll them up. Again, you're doing one by one here. You don't want to roll them all up together because once you're on the roof, then you're going to have to be taking them apart. So roll them up one by one, and then once you're done rolling these up, just try to keep them as compact as possible. I know that these are really rough sheets to work with, and it's very hard to get them very tight, but do whatever you can in order to get them as tight as possible, but not to ruin them. And then once you're done with this, we're going to be taking these up to the top of the roof. Alright, so as you can see from the measurement here, these sheets are right around 39 inches, just a little beyond. Just keep in mind that all you really need for overlapping on roofing is right around 6 inches. Just based on the fact that we're not going to trim anything off and we have these already at 39 inches, we're going to do some 13, 14 inch overlaps. And this roof is going to be very watertight. So some people like to put just staples and nothing else on the roofing paper. We like to put this roofing adhesive to include roofing nails onto this in order to make it last. So just be very careful when going up and down a ladder with material, especially going all the way up to the roof. Heavy material causes you to go off balance, lean to one side, so just be very, very careful when dealing with material going up and down a roof. A lot of people stand up there, they put a rope on the bottom and somebody just pulls it from the bottom level up to the top. When you're doing this by yourself, just be careful. You can also invest in a harness of some sort to make sure that you don't fall off the roof. When the wind comes, it could take you. So again, use caution. And my working partner just showed up, my dad. He's ready to work, and we're ready to get this thing knocked out. So once you have all your material up to the top of the roof, this is how we put on this adhesive. You can use different types of tools, but what we have here is a broom that will fit inside of the bucket. Instead of dumping the bucket on the roof and making a huge mess, we just dip the broom into the bucket itself and roll it onto the plywood. You don't have to cover the entire plywood with this. You just want to get a good grip on the actual roofing paper. So that's basically what we're doing here, is getting a grip for the roofing paper. That's it. We're not covering the entire thing. So again, this is the tool that we're using. There are different tools to use, but a broom, this thing runs like $5 at Lowe's. So again, use the actual tools that you know you're going to be able to throw away in the future. And when doing this project, this portion, old clothes, old shoes, it'll get messy. So as you can see here, the large overhang initially that was cut out is not going to be for this portion, this side of the shed. My dad's using the smaller cut portion. And once he has this lined up, all you're going to do is line it up with the siding, and mainly where the actual edge, where the drip edge is going to go, that's what you want lined up with this sheeting. So once you have that lined up, we're going to be rolling it down. Just try to get as many air bubbles out as possible. So when you pull this material, the air bubbles should come out. Once you have a good amount down, go ahead and tack this in with a roofing nail. Don't nail all of them in, just tack this in order to keep it from moving on you. And just a tip for when using this actual adhesive, you are not clumping this on, you're not making it thicker than another portion of it. It's a very thin coat. This thing will get so strong and holding this roofing paper down that you don't need more than you believe you will need. So thin coat on this stuff. So you can see here how the edging of the roofing paper is near or flushed with the edging of the actual plywood itself. So that's where the drip edge is going to go. You'll see at the other end of the plywood, we already made a small cut so that we're not fighting with the roofing paper once we're putting this drip edge on. I don't want to cut it too short. And then you're going to start, once you have your first sheet down, just based on the size of this roof itself, you're going to go ahead and move your way to the other side and start on that. You want to make sure they're overlapping from the top down. So you're going to want to start from the bottom level first and work your way up. And the same exact process, once you have that overhang, just go ahead and trim it to somewhat size of where the drip edge is going to go. And then go ahead and start on your other two pieces of roofing paper until you get to the top. You can see that they're overlapping with the adhesive as if you're just putting a piece of roofing paper up there with no roofing paper on the bottom of it. So kind of keep the same exact width, and you know that this roofing paper is going to be stuck to this thing for years to come. And once you're ready to go, just go ahead and put your roofing paper on. Once you get down to the edge, you have somebody else pull from one side and get all the air bubbles out. Once you have the two sides down with the two pieces of roofing paper, you're going to overlap the very top with the extra fifth piece of roofing paper we have here. These are massive overlaps. Again, all you need is 6 inches, but we're pretty much going 13 inches on this. Alright, so as you can see here, I am starting with the drip edge. You can also see the types of nails that we're using. I like using these green nails with the plastic top. My dad enjoys using the ones without them. It's up to you. It's just your preference to whatever you want to use. That's why they're mixed in the middle, because I was on the edge and my dad was up on top. And now getting started for the bird boards on the edges. This is where the two rafters are at on the sides. The open space that's between the two rafters above the actual true wood that we used for the sheathing. This portion right here is going to be cut out to size and then punctured with 2 holes inside and then filled with screening. So all that needs to happen here is making the measurement, transferring the measurement from between the 2 rafters that are sticking out on the edges against the actual framing portion. Transfer those numbers onto this wood, make a chalk line, and then use a skill saw or a worm drive of some sort to go ahead and make your cut. And as you can see here, the chalk lines are made, all the measurements are on this board. And all we're going to do is cut from that chalk line, cut on that chalk line from one side to the other. Once you have that portion cut out, then you're going to go ahead and make your individual markings that are between the two rafters. And once you make those markings, then you're going to cut those out so you have your individual pieces. And bird boards are very important just based on the fact that you want some sort of circulation running through that roof area. And it really is just as simple as that. There's really no hard thinking to this portion other than making some transfers of measurements onto this board and making your cuts. Once you have all your pieces cut out to length and size, then you're going to make your bird holes. Now, the holes are up to you, probably every 6 inches between from the left side to the bird hole to the other bird hole to the left to the right side. You know, however you want to do it, just make it look nice. All you're going to be using here is make sure you use a drill that actually is powered through a cord. Unless you have a very powerful drill, battery powered ones are just not going to work for this. So make sure you get yourself a powerful drill with a cord hooked up to it to be able to plug this thing in. Use a bit that's going to be boring out whatever size holes you want, whether you want a 2.5 inch hole, a 2-inch hole, that all depends on your preference. All we're using here is actually a hammer drill that has the ability to do a actual drill bit to it. So it's going to be a powerful enough drill for us to use on this project. And all we're going to do is make 2 holes in each board, and these things are going to be ready to go put up there with some, finished nails. And then in the end result, we're going to be putting up some screening behind it so that no actual birds go into it. Alright, so you can see where he's actually putting these bird boards up. They look nice. It's going to enclose the remainder of the shed. Alright, so everything is put up now and it is all in place, leveled off. Everything looks straight. You can see the bird board from this still shot here. You can see I have 2 holes in each bird board, and that's what's going to create the circulation inside the actual structure itself. Alright, so as my dad was working on these bird boards, I was working on the actual drip edge itself. So you can see that the drip edge is up. That's what's going to make the water run off the actual side of the building, so that it doesn't fall onto the building. Now, you can't really do much about rain and wind at the same time. That's going to hit your shed no matter what, but the most you could protect it, do it. Every structure needs some drip edges, so make sure you put these on the corners. So you can see that all the bird boards are up now. They have yet to be put. We haven't put the screening on there yet, but you can see a wide opening. This is what your bird boards are looking like from the inside. So what I purchased was just some regular screening, like for a screen door. And this is what they look like here. And these things run about $6 or $7 depending on the size that you're getting. And all you need is a $6 piece of material, and that's going to be stapled over these bird board holes. So a big thank you if you guys stuck with us this entire video. Please subscribe because the next video coming up is going to be about putting and installing shingles up on the roof.